Welcome to the Necessary Entrepreneur
All right.
Content Studio.
Content studio.
Okay, so we just came from the podcast that was awesome.
Right.
And so we do some hot takes on some things.
All right.
So I'm going to get it kicked off. I learned something from a guy that was just here last week. I'm going to make some easy, quick hitters for you.
All right.
Coke or Pepsi?
Definitely Coke.
Shaved ice or coffee?
Coffee.
But you said neither one.
I know. I mean, if I had to drink one, I'm just real excited about the coffee brand right now. 15 years of shaved ice.
Rockstar or Monster?
Oh, definitely Rockstar.
Why?
Because it's the strawberry whipped. It's the only one I drink.
Country music or rock and roll?
You could have stopped at country music.
Waylon Jennings or...
Don't say Willie Nelson.
Nope. No, he's still here.
Yeah.
Waylon Jennings or...
Keith Whitley.
Wow, we're going to Keith Whitley, huh? Him and old Lori Morgan back in the day.
Back in the day.
Right?
Yeah.
I think she was in love. I think that devastated broke her heart. And then she had to go marry Sammy Kershaw.
Yeah. And did she date Troy Aikman?
I think she did.
Yeah.
Yeah. You knew her life was going downhill when that happened.
You know that.
Football or baseball?
Football.
Cincinnati Reds or Cincinnati Bengals? You can't go there, can you, since you just said football? Cincinnati Reds or Cincinnati Bengals?
I just feel so disingenuous. I love the both stadiums. I don't know. I'm just.
He's not going to go there.
I'm not going to
Wow,
go
a guy who hadn't said anything. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Now here's someone worse. FC Cincinnati.
Right.
The MLS team, soccer.
Right. Indifferent. Wouldn't let me in the stadium. Not interested. How about that?
That's good.
Yeah. Wanted me to park outside.
That's good.
Yeah.
10 years ago, you may have done that.
Yeah.
Okay. Mercedes or BMW?
Mercedes. Had a lot of BMWs, but I'm a Mercedes guy now.
The ultimate driving machine?
That's a good line, isn't it?
It is.
Such a good line. Yeah. Good question. Good question.
What's the last, let me see here. What's your favorite flavor if you were going to eat shaved ice from KONA? What's your favorite flavor? Is it one of the mixed ones now on the side where they tell you?
There's a, what is it, raspberry colada or something like that. It's
raspberry colada or tiger blood?
Raspberry colada every time. Tiger's blood too sweet for me.
So good.
It is.
It was so good this year.
Strawberry milk coconut.
All right. Let's. So you love history.
Yep.
Italy or France?
Italy.
Italy or Germany?
Honestly, Germany. There's some tough dudes, man.
Germany
or Russia.
Oh, I wasn't going to go there, but Germany or Russia? Boy, that's a hell of a topic right now, Tony.
I know, but you got to go all the way back because I'm a history guy, so I'm like Russia, man.
With the Cosmonovs, or what was the royal family back in Romanovs?
Yeah, Romanovs. Right,
okay.
Right, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So Russia.
20 million people died in that World War II. That was their biggest. They didn't have bullets. They had people. They just went through them like crazy.
It's wild.
It's crazy.
People don't know how close the world, how different it could have been. It was so close.
So close.
Germany multiple times, Russia multiple times. Yeah. What happened in the winter over there. If they would have gone ahead and gone to St. Petersburg or Moscow when they didn't.
Right.
Fascinating, isn't it?
It's crazy. Then you go to the Pacific Midway. The whole thing, how frickin' so close.
So close.
So close.
If we wouldn't have taken out all those carriers at Midway, what would have happened?
Yeah, they would have invaded Hawaii.
Right.
And then here comes the West Coast.
What can we take from business?
Right.
What do you learn from history?
Right.
That you utilize in building KONA the past 15 years?
Yeah, that it repeats itself. There's lessons to be learned in history. There's people haven't changed that much. You go back and say greed gets you sometimes, unpreparedness gets you sometimes. Those are all the great lessons of history. That's what heck, just recent history. You look at the entrepreneurs that have failed because they weren't watching this or they weren't paying attention to this. So that's what I love about history. It's like, man, if I read that enough, I will not make the same mistakes, and I guarantee you I will make the same mistakes.
So keep reading it.
Keep reading it, man. Great question.
Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos?
I'm going to have Elon Musk or Bezos has the best line when the Fire phone failed. And he got up on stage. I remember seeing the little clip. He goes, "Oh, if you think that failure's big, we got 10 more failures that's going to make that look tiny." And I freaking love that, because I was like, because we fail and we get so embarrassed when we fail, and you want to hide it and you want to put it down here, and you're like, he just owned it. And I was like, that's the day I love Jeff Bezos. But you got Elon Musk with that tweet to AOC where he said, "Thanks for your opinion, $8." Like,
he just doesn't care.
He doesn't care. He's got Asperger's, which I think all of them have Asperger's, which is such a, you hate to say, such a great trait.
Isn't it wild?
It is so. I mean, they're just so dialed in, so focused, and so. But I really enjoy his humor. I enjoy his cynicism, and I'm a big Musk fan. So.
Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn.
I'm gonna embarrass myself here. I don't do any of them.
You don't?
There's a LinkedIn for me. I never touch it. Someone handles it or whatever. I don't do Instagram. Don't do Facebook. I did Facebook, and then all these people reaching out like, I don't want.
How do you survive in this world without social media then?
I got a social media department, and they let me know if I need to be aware of something.
Okay, that's good.
I just you only got so much time. I got I think it was Instagram for like a week. It was like. There went 12 hours a day. You're just like, what just happened to my week?
Yep.
You're so fascinated by it. I had TikTok for a couple of days. It was fascinating.
Crazy.
It's crazy.
It just eats you up because it gives you what you want.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And then how it's intuitive, and you're like, oh my gosh, what's happening to me? YouTube's the same way. Now I will delete YouTube apps, and then a couple weeks later I'm like, where's that YouTube app? I got an hour to kill.
Let's talk about. I'm going to drop some names of some CEOs.
All right.
Some still with us and some not anymore.
All right.
Lee Iacocca.
Yeah, I think right time, right place.
Okay.
Good guy, but I mean, he just right time, right place.
Steve Jobs.
Just innovator, beyond innovator, just Lone Star Maverick. Frickin' loved everything he did. Just did it without apology. Just crushed everything. I'm a huge fan.
Bob Iger.
Smarter than he is. I mean, not charismatic at all. But I think he's brilliant. I think the guy's unbelievably intelligent. That's what, more so than a lot of them.
Okay.
I think that's what gets him through. He's got a story in his book where he locks himself in a boardroom or a big workroom for, I think, 3 or 4 days, and just hashes it all out on whiteboards, then brings everybody in and says, here's what we're doing. That's some talent, as opposed to, hey, Mary, I need you to give me a diagram for, or whatever. It's just, this is a guy that does it all himself. That's pretty raw. I'm an Iger fan, but he's not charismatic. He's not this. He's not that. And I like a leader with a little charisma.
Charisma.
Yeah.
Warren Buffett.
Big fan. I got to, just tell me where I'm going to die, so I don't go there. Yep. So him and Munger, I just think are the dynamic duo on the stage of.
Man, those are awesome, aren't they? Those years.
They're just so good. Yeah, it's my dad.
Yeah.
It's my dad out there just talking, and they're just unapologetic and just, I'm more of a Charlie Munger fan than I am a Warren Buffett.
Why is that? I am too.
He's
the quips.
What did he say about MBAs? And said, just dogged MBAs at one time, and I love that. I can't remember the quote.
Yeah, he can't stand financial advisors and Wall Street and Goldman Sachs and all of it and stuff. It drives him crazy.
Yeah.
Tom Lamb.
Unduplicatable. A true original. And no one's trying to duplicate him. That's what, because it doesn't, I mean, he was fabulously wealthy. He was the COO of Rainbow. I mean, he went all the way up. I mean, crazy good salesman, made a great living. I grew up fairly wealthy, got a Trans Am when I was 17 or whatever, and he thought I was graduating high school. Great story. Gets off a plane, I pick him up, and he's like, what are we doing? And your mom's out of town. I said, we're going to go buy me a car. He said, really? I said, you bought the other kids a car when they graduated? And he goes, yeah, I did. So let's go buy a car. So he bought me a Trans Am. I was a junior in high school. My senior year, I was driving a brand new Trans Am. Back in the day when that wasn't such a redneck car.
That's awesome. Did you have the T-tops?
Oh yeah.
Did it have? That wasn't the Firebird on it?
It did. It did. The lights popped up and everything.
Here
was the coolest
part. It's
like
Smokey Bandit stuff?
No, next model. But here was the coolest thing about the car. This is an ego play for me. The back tail lights were they were little modules or whatever lights. I could take black tape and cover them up, and I could spell shit with my. So I'd hit my brakes and it would say Tony. I'd hit my brakes and it'd say Lamb. I'd hit my brakes and I'd put my girlfriend's name back there.
Was that the advertisement on the date? Like, hey, honey, let me tell you something.
I'll tell you, you ride with me. I look like this in high school, brother.
I'm going to put your name in lights.
I look like this in high school. I needed a car.
Tony Lamb.
Gosh, I should have known you were going here.
You want to come back to it?
Yeah, let me come back to it.
Okay. Are there any local CEOs in our Cincinnati marketplace? You know, there's the lenders and there's those people. They're the farmers at Cintas. I don't know any of them.
Right.
Are there any people locally that you know well enough that they've done something big? We should read the book if it hasn't been written. Is it they've done something substantial beyond running a good business? Because we don't have any of those big names that I've just named. It's like they're California, they're Silicon Valley, right? There's a Bill Gates. Is there anybody?
Is Bill Butler? I mean, he's a tough old bird.
Yeah.
But I've got to know him more now, and I think that's a different guy than he was 15 years ago. He's interested in kind of mentoring and giving back a little bit. I think that's the Bill Butler. I like Bill.
You know what I've learned? I think he's misunderstood.
Yeah. He was.
I think he's misunderstood.
Yeah.
And not saying, you know what, there's going to be people at the end of my career that there's going to be a few people that don't like me.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
It's not intentional. I think it just happens in business.
Right.
And I'm sure they won't have good things to say about me.
Right.
But there's going to be a lot of people that have a lot of respect at the end of the day from what I've accomplished and what I've helped them do.
Sure.
And I do think with Bill, when he's gone, he's still hitting it at 79, man. And what they're doing with Ovation, that $1 billion development, and still the stuff in Colorado.
Mind is sharp.
It's sharp. It's impressive.
Yeah.
And so I think he's so smart. What's in that brain?
Yeah.
It's tough for him to communicate it to others.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he's learning from the experiences. I mean, yes, he is smart, but man, he kept getting smarter and smarter and smarter and smarter.
Yep.
A lot of people check out.
Yep.
I'm smart enough. I can coast.
It's impressive.
It is.
It's big time impressive.
The more I get to know him, the more I'm impressed.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah.
It's nice that he put in that much time because he's all in for Northern Kentucky.
Oh, that's where he got me. 14 feet. That's the difference. In Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky, it's 14 feet of elevation. That's why Cincinnati developed and Northern Kentucky didn't. And he gave a speech at the Horizon Club or Horizon event.
Metropolitan Club, Horizon Funds Club.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. And he gave a speech there, and it was fantastic. And I got up and started talking to him, and of course, with Chris Peterman but I had rented some office space from him in River Center Towers. Tough, man, tough. It's like I don't want to tangle with that.
Bought this building from him.
Yeah. Did you?
Mm-hmm.
You get a good deal?
No. He believes so. No.
That's great.
What would you expect?
I know, that's what I was going to say. Are you the one guy that got the good deal from Bill Butler?
No.
I just didn't know what your ego was.
No.
That's like.
No. Once it's remodeled, I'm sure he's going to be like, oh, yeah, you really got that.
Right,
right.
right.
It took 4 years of remodeling.
Right,
so,
right.
Yeah. No, but it's to be respected. And I think what happens is you're at these places in life personally,
Right.
and I'm having some humble reflection, and there's not many people, once you get to the heights of where he is, there's not many people that can relate.
Yeah.
And his brain relates because he's there.
Yeah.
And it's really tough for him to speak and to connect
Yeah.
and to mentor others
Yeah.
when you just don't know the things he knows.
Yeah.
And so I think that's really challenging to do. I don't know how you bridge that divide.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're going to have to deal with some of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're probably having to do some of it. So, Tony Lamb.
The first word that came to mind was like, I'm faking it.
You have this imposter syndrome? Is this the imposter
I keep
syndrome?
waiting for someone to say, pull the curtains back.
Why do you think that? Like, this is just a good conversation to have.
Because I feel, and I do, this is not fake humility. I feel lucky. I feel that I worked hard. Because I've got great people around me that work hard. I know one outworks me, but works hard, smarter maybe or whatever, and they're not going to ever achieve what I'm achieved. So I feel lucky. And then so if you have that true sense of I'm pretty fortunate, right time, right place, then you do feel like you're a little bit of an imposter. Someone's going to like pull it away from you at some point. And
Attitude of gratitude, baby.
Yeah, and I don't want to be fake or false about it because I am. My wife, the most unbelievably grateful person. You know what grinds me more than anything is people that aren't appreciative, because you could have been born somewhere else. You could have been born in a third world country. I mean,
3 million malnourished kids are going to die in the whole world this year.
Yeah.
Used to be 7 million. I heard somebody say 3 million.
3 million.
I don't know how you think about something like that and you don't have some appreciation for this big thing.
Yeah.
And maybe we have to check in on those moments, on those things,
Right.
and bring it back to the forefront of our mind. But man, that's got to be humbling.
And then the responsibility that you have when you do achieve success is to give back to a community and make a community better. Put smiles on faces, but feelings, and also, I want to do some things. I'm not really ready to talk about it just yet, but I'm trying to make sure that I'm in the Horizon Fund. I think that's a great fund, but I really got some plans that I'm going to try to change Northern Kentucky.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What I love about you guys is you always show up. We have a great group of people inside my real estate company that do these awesome events. We do things on Easter. KONA shows up.
Yeah.
We just did a trunk or treat, giving back to the community, and we raise money for the Brighton Center.
Right.
KONA shows up.
Yeah.
And I know you guys are making some money and all that, but it's giving back, but a portion of what you're doing is giving back.
Yeah.
And just showing up, you add to all this stuff. So
Yeah, but if you let me know.
yeah. But you guys show up, it's awesome though.
Yeah, but we show up free though, brother. You're doing something where you're giving back. I want to show up free.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I do. But the point is that everybody knows you guys show up, so you get the call.
Right.
Right? It's
Right.
just really, really good.
Yeah, you look at Boone County Pee Wee football, and we've redone, because it was just, that was my demographic. Those are my kids. And it's not just one school where it's not this. So we go in there and redo the press box. We put playground equipment up. I redo everything there. I'm just grateful that they let me be out there.
So this is the first time in the last couple hours we've spent together. You said Boone County. So I was born in Hebron.
Okay.
So I got this Boone County blood too.
Yeah. I almost bought a house in Kenton County, and I couldn't bring myself to it.
Lakeside Park or something? Or?
No, it was just out closer to Calvary. My kids all went to Calvary school.
Yep, okay.
And I was going to move out there closer. I was like, I can't do it.
Can't do it.
Can't do it. I love Gary Moore. I
Yep.
don't know if you know this. Gary Moore bought the first rainbow vacuum cleaner from me when I moved up here.
Nope.
And he was a salesman at Wiseway Plumbing.
Okay.
And John Kane, and that's another CEO. He's a phenomenal guy. John Kane runs Wiseway Plumbing.
Didn't they just sell?
He did. I saw him. I walked in. I was in Grand Caymans last week or week before last, and I walk into a restaurant, and he goes, "Tony Lamb," and I was like, "What are we doing, John? Holy cow!
What's happening here?"
Yeah, and his wife and my wife are good friends. They're just great people. Ed Reynolds. Let me answer that other question. CEOs. Ed Reynolds owns Eagle Finance, and probably one of the most genuine guys I've ever met. He was my partner in KONA early on, and never met a guy like that before. Just true. COVID hits. His first thing, let's go out and buy. He bought hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of Kroger gift cards, started sending out to his customers, because he said these people are going to hurt. And just, who does that? Who thinks that way? Right off the bat, I'm in self-preservation mode. And he's out there, and I'm self-preservation, and then I'm preservation for my franchisees, and he's what's going to help the world out there. Let's buy some Kroger cars, let's get some people some food, and all this stuff. So
That's awesome.
He's wired that way. He's done incredibly well. And he gets a bad rap or whatever, but I mean,
He's done incredibly well.
incredibly well. But you look at the church he goes to, you look at the schools, the things he's contributed anonymously, crazy.
They're supported.
Crazy. Yeah.
So I go back to this Boone County thing. So I've said some words and to get your take, but Northern Kentucky.
Yeah. I think it's real. It's not pretentious. I've fallen in love. Because I lived in Lexington. Lexington had that air of
Blue blood stuff, man.
Yeah, blue blood stuff. There's the
Country club attitude everywhere.
Yeah, it seems like I moved to Northern Kentucky, and it seemed like an overgrown traffic stop on 75, and Florence and everything. And then you get involved in the community, you get involved in the church, you get involved in the schools, and you're like, these are some great people. I don't know how you find better people. I don't know.
I think we're spoiled.
Yeah.
Because I fall into this trap where I think a lot of people are homers.
Yeah.
where you're from.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
a lot of people are.
Yeah.
Well, you're from West Virginia, but I
Right.
think a lot of people are homers where they're from. And I think, and having conversations with them, I'm like, guys, they explain like where you're from. It's like, well, you don't know Northern Kentucky as a Cincinnati. I hate to have to do that.
I know, but it's the quicker recognition.
It just is.
Yeah.
Right. But Northern Kentucky is different than Cincinnati.
Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah.
And so there is something about people holding the door open, man.
Yep.
Somebody where, road rage is real. And if you don't take the right turn on the red light, it's like, come on, man, get it going. But there's something about, it feels like we just care about other people a notch up from what I experienced so many other places.
I think that's a good observation. I think I would go along with that. I do. I think there's some of the most, I've said in school board meetings and I've said in PTA meetings, and you get to know, and just you hear the stories of Oregon, of Portland, of all this stuff. We have 200 franchisees in California. It's the hardest state in the world to do business in. It's just crazy how hard it is. And then you realize, oh, they don't want you here. And that's the epiphany I had was like, oh, it's not hard to get in. They actually don't want you in this
Because
state.
you're a business.
Because you're a business.
You're a privately owned business.
Yeah, they're like, oh, I misunderstood. And I thought we were just trying to figure out how to get along. Texas is like, come on, baby.
Come on, baby.
Come
Let's
on,
go.
baby.
That's what I felt
Florida
down
is like, come on, baby.
Yep.
Florida, I tell you, that Ron DeSantis,
It's coming.
that's a cool thing right there.
Yep.
I don't care what your politics are. You gotta give it to that guy. Smart, no nonsense. I don't care Republican, Democrat. He's just getting it done.
He's got what it takes to survive in business.
Yep.
And I think that's why he's respected from our perspective,
Yep.
right? I could care less. And I tell people, like, boy, I'm not asking you at all. This is me. I'm a registered independent now. And I haven't felt better about my political position than 8 or 10 years ago when I registered independent, just because I'm at this place where it just seems like there's so many imposters there.
Yeah.
Right? And so I see something like that, and I don't know anything about him, probably as in-depth as you do, but I'm like, there's something good coming out of there.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying everything. I'm sure I wouldn't agree with the guy completely.
Sure.
But there's something good because it seems like it just works well. It just seems like it works well.
I tried to say this to my franchisee body. When I'm looking at politics, I look at DeSantis or Trump or Biden or whatever. Obama, I think, was the first time I had the epiphany. Was like, no, did I vote for Obama in 08? I didn't. But I was very proud inauguration night where this country has come and where it was. I was excited. Then, of course, he starts raising taxes.
Here we go. We hate it.
I was like,
Here
oh
we
my
go.
God.
What happened?
I can't stand the guy.
Yeah.
But I have enough respect for the position that he is. They're making decisions with facts that I don't have. And I want that to translate down to my franchisees when I'm like, I don't want to get up on stage and have to tell you every single thing I'm doing or all the facts. Because here's the decision I got to make. And is it going to be popular or unpopular? I don't care. This is the decision I have to make because here's the facts. I don't have time or the inclination to give you all the facts. This is what I've got to do. You've got to have enough respect for the position, and especially the president. You think every day, every morning, Mr. President, there's a problem. Every freaking day. And so I have enough respect for the office that I'm not going to agree with everything they do. I don't care which side of the aisle you're on. You're not going to agree with everything, but I got enough respect. It's like, man, I just hope they're making the best decision with the facts that they've got, and that's all you can do.
So you as a business owner,
Yeah.
What percentage of information do you feel you need to have before you make a decision? There's some different opinions out here. Bezos, you've heard some things coming from him.
Yeah.
He's like this 70% guy, I believe.
Yeah, I heard him say that.
Right. What's your thoughts about that? 'Cause I don't think about it enough, but what's your thoughts?
When the decision gets to me, and I have to trust the people that are bringing the decision to me, and then once I've gotten to that effect, that people aren't coloring it when they're bringing me the facts. I got one guy. He brings me facts. I'm like, I'm gonna align with him probably 9 out of 10 times. So I don't need. I need 51% of the information there. Depends on who's bringing me the information and how it's coming to me. There's people in my organization. I'm going to need about 95% of the facts because you don't have the experience or the background, or you've still got that immaturity where you're trying to color things. And I don't politic it on me. Let's just look at cold hard facts.
All right, so let's throw out some characteristics here as we come to the end of the
Self-awareness.
quick hits.
God, I'm telling you, that is my biggest pet peeve. I get fired up when people have no self-awareness.
What's that mean? Like, when you say that to someone, and when you're saying what's it mean, what if they don't have it?
Move on. Get out. I'd rather you just leave my company. And I have asked people to leave because no self-awareness. You can't win with that person. Are you kidding me? It's like,
Is it because they always have to be right?
it's yeah.
Ray Dalio wrote a book called Principles. I don't know if you've read that one.
Ray Dalio is the man.
I mean, that book was so dense, but we got through it. We did a book study.
Yeah.
I think that book is speaking everything about it. It's like, man, this is self-awareness.
Right.
This is trying to say, who are you? Are you
Right.
willing to participate in an idea meritocracy?
Right.
Are you willing to do these things? Are
Yeah.
you self-aware enough that you can be honest about who you are?
Yeah.
But I don't think, unless you want to get better, man, I don't know if that's a practice you're willing to go through.
I think it's the common denominator of winners and losers is self-awareness. And that's why when I tell you that I feel like I'm lucky, I just want to have enough self-awareness that I'm not egotistical enough to think that I deserve what's happened to me. I do deserve it because I've worked my butt off and I'm trying to be as smart as I can be, and I was in the right place at the right time, and I took advantage of the opportunity that was presented to me, and I ran. But at the end of the day, there was still some luck involved, and I want to be appreciative for that so I can be aware that the guy that's sitting beside me or the company down the street, I'm not egotistical enough to say, I'm good and you suck. You know, I hit it right. I put all the things in place at the right time. But when I get around people, and I've had them in my company that have no self-awareness, I cannot, it's something I'm passionate about now. I want them out of my company as fast as possible.
Discipline.
I think it's a game changer. I think it's the distilling fact, the universal solvent, you know, discipline. You've seen these guys with good talent, but they can never, you know, it's like when someone comes in and they're disheveled or their hair's messed up and their shirt's untucked and they've never put it together. You're like, they can probably stumble into some things, but man, if you don't have that self-discipline where you're showing up on time, you're getting things done, you're putting everything else together, you know.
Hey, gosh, ask him about the brand Shirts Untuck It.
I like that untuck it style. Anytime you got a little bit of a pot belly, you're like, I like that untuck it.
Man, I'm ripped, baby. I got an 8-pack. It's just hidden. It's just
back
hidden.
That's right. I'm covered it
All right,
up.
so excellence. And as you're thinking about that, I have another one. What's it take to go from good to great? That's a book. What's it take to go from
Was
good
it Jeff
to...
Conway or Jeff Collins?
I think that sounds right. I don't know for sure.
Because he wrote...
there's another book there with it.
He's got 3 of them, I think. But Good to Great, I read. And
Okay, yep.
of course, now if you go back and look at Circuit City, and you're like, wait a minute, you were wrong.
Yep.
But it was the journey of taking something good to great, and it's only about this far is what it comes down to. Because good is the enemy of great. You know, you've heard that cliche, and it is, because a lot of people just cap out. They're like, okay, my franchisees will do that. Hey, I've got it pretty good. I'm like, well, go to great. Just go the next step. It's not that freaking far. It's like, I don't know.
Is it just being better, a little bit better the next day? I mean, is that the process to get there?
The Bigsby guy, sell one more cup of coffee the next day.
One more shaved ice, sell one more house.
Yeah, one more house. That's big. That's a big deal. But yeah, I mean, it's create one more customer. I think for shaved ice, it's not sell another shaved ice. It's get one more customer. Communicate better. You know, excellence is understanding where you're at that moment and putting a system and process together that just makes that perfect every single time. I love duplicate. I'm a huge systems and process.
Rinse and repeat.
Oh my gosh! If people get so sick of me saying that, what's your process? How do you refine your process? Let's look at your process. Put your process up on a spreadsheet for me. Let's go over your process. Where's the redundancies in your process? Why you got this step in here? Just drill down on all that
So
stuff.
excellence goes with that. Because I'm not saying perfection.
Right.
Right? But excellence.
Yeah.
What's that? Is it just get commingled with all the other things?
I don't know. There's something there.
It's excelling.
Yeah.
It's a desire maybe to be great. That's how I look at it. Striving for excellence, being more excellent today, getting better today than you were yesterday, but striving for a level maybe of an outcome or a level of performance that is just so far above and beyond the next person in your category. You're so excellent.
Yeah, but when I think of excellence, I think of a Rolex or I think of a Porsche.
Quality.
You
think quality?
I do. I think why that level of attention to detail.
Is it important?
It is. It is for that brand. that brand is. You know, I had that comment one time. Someone asked me, what is brand? I was like, brand is and I just flippantly said, brand is a promise. And it's a set of expectations, because I can say any brand to you and immediately you've got things that come into your head. If I say Rolex, you're saying, you know, fine, Swiss, whatever you're going to say about it. If I say Porsche or BMW or Mercedes or what, you've got that's a promise that brand wants to make to you, that when you impart or you partake of that brand, that's the experience you're going to get.
Okay, so the final question.
All right.
Then the brand KONA.
Yeah. Community. That's what it's got to be, because it's a simple product. It's you know, you say, well, I want the ice fluffy and I want the flavors. Kind of dial that in. Got a good shaver, got good flavors. Kind of dial that in. You got to be thought of in that community as part of that community. You're not ripping in there and taking money and ripping out. You're not the purveyor that's out there, you know, driving the streets looking for kids. You're at the ball games. You're giving back. You're at, like you just said earlier, we're at all the give back events. We're all the community events. If there's a community event, KONA Ice needs to be there. And it needs to be either raising money for something or giving money back or doing something that makes the community a better place. And if you get that, then everything else takes care of itself.
It's awesome, man. Thanks for running this company and making it a better place, because it just is.
Yeah.
And I think everybody that's going to hear this and understanding what's behind that brand, because it's all tasty and they see it, I think they're going to feel much better even about you guys, what they already felt.
I appreciate that.
So kudos, man.
Yeah.